You're listening to the Three Pillars of Success, a podcast that inspires people of all walks of life to gain perspective on what it means to succeed. My name is Geraldine Convento, and I'm best known for entrepreneurship, my skills in web presence, and SEO. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the show. Hey y'all, how you doing? It's me, Geraldine, the entrepreneur guide, web and SEO expert, and here we are for another episode of the Three Pillars of Success podcast. I have a very special guest today from Toronto, Canada, by the name of Dervla Trainor. How are you?
Hello, I'm great. Thanks for asking.
Thanks for joining me today. So we're going to go ahead and just jump into the questions. Who are you? Where are you from? And what do you do for a living?
I'm Dervla Trainor. I was born in Belfast, Northern Ireland, but I moved to Canada when I was 5, so that explains the Canadian accent. I grew up in Kingston, Ontario. It's about 3.5 hours east of Toronto, but I've lived in Toronto for the most part for the past 13 years. What do? I do a few things. I work in TV production. I am a voice actor, and I also run an annual conference.
Oh, what's the conference?
It's a voice actor conference.
Yay! How cool.
We flew in like 55 speakers this past year. We just had it a few weeks ago, and we had like the voice of Bugs Bunny. He was one of our guests, and we have some pretty big names come. So it's fun. There's voice actors are weirdos like me. But so it makes for an entertaining weekend. Yeah.
That's super cool. Now, what do you do for fun?
Always something different. So, we'll travel as much as possible. I'm a little bit addicted to travel, hang out with friends, but I like trying new restaurants or going to new places or going to, like a concert or an industry event or checking out a show or an exhibit. So I always try and keep it different, maybe go for a hike or keep it interesting. I love tennis and squash. And I always have some sort of project on the go as well. So right now I'm working on a TV show pitch. Just lots of different things to keep me busy.
What does success mean to you?
I would define success as fulfillment, freedom, and balance in life.
Yeah, 100%. Me too.
Yeah, and freedom, I mean, like it could be not just being free, but it could be time freedom. It could be money freedom. It's freedom of expression. So kind of many things behind the definition of freedom. Yeah.
If you were to choose three pillars that were attributed to success for you, what would they be?
The three that I would attribute, first one I would say define what you want. So I think that's really important in achieving success because once you know what you want in life, if an opportunity presents itself or if you have a decision to make, it's easy just to refer back to, well, what do I want? And will a decision, like whatever decision I'm going to make, is that going to help me get closer to what I want or take me further away? It just makes life a lot less complicated and much easier. Also, if you're someone who doesn't like to say no, if you say, well, it doesn't fit in with my goals and what I want in life, so I'm sorry, I have to say no. I mean, no one can argue with that. They can't be like, no, that's not okay. You can't really argue with you being true to yourself and staying in your worth. So yeah, define what you want. I would say that's the first one. The second, not waiting until something's perfect to actually take action on it. So this can relate to anything, whether it's launching a business or having the perfect body before you start dating or getting like a podcast up and running. You can still take action and go for something while still working on it. Of course, you want to get to a certain level, but if it's like 75, 80%, just don't wait for that extra 20 before just going for it. You can still work up to that 100%. But I find that a lot of people, they stop short because something isn't perfect. So they won't go for something. And I feel that comes from maybe a place of fear. So if you just feel the fear and do it anyway, it'll also improve your confidence, like actually seeing that come to fruition. So that's the second one. Imperfect action, I guess you'd call it.
I like that.
Thank you. And then Oh, also because even if you launch something and you think it's 100%, or you start going dating and you think, oh, I'm at 100%, even if you do get there, life's always going to bring you different things where you're still going to change that even after that. So I digress. Three, I would say just kind of being a student of life, always learning, always growing, always staying curious. And that kind of could mean a few things. So, it could be working on yourself, your relationship with yourself, some inner healing if that needs to be done. Figure out why you act the way you do or what holds you back and what's really behind that. Also, being learning in your career. So, no matter how experienced you are, you can always learn something. Or if you're just starting out and you don't know what you're doing, don't let that stop you. Get scrappy. Look up Google, ask your friends, figure it out. Again, that'll help build your confidence, but it'll also get you to where you want to go, or at least much further than you would have if you just made the excuse and just didn't and said, oh, I don't know how to do this. I mean, if you could afford it, you could hire someone to kind of help with that. But it is really important just to understand the basics of everything. Madonna, one thing that always impressed me about her is that, yes, she has a whole team of people, but her publicist, her agent, her manager, she still fully understands absolutely everything that each one of them does. She's very proud of that fact because it's her business. So although she hires people to do it, she's educated on every aspect of it. Another kind of aspect of learning and growing, which I think is really important, is treating failure as a learning opportunity. And I'm sure people have probably heard this before, but it's a goodie because if you fail at something or you screw up or you have a setback, it's a terrible feeling. It's shitty. No one likes that feeling. But I've kind of trained myself at least to almost immediately go to how can I learn from this? What can I get out of this that can help me grow? It helps ease the blow to the ego, but then you do learn something and then you stop dreading failure as much because you are going to come out of it on the other end being a better person or knowing a bit more.
I love all three of those. And particularly your last one reminds me of one of my favorite quotes, which is there's no such thing as failure, only feedback.
Ooh, I love that.
And one of the things that people tend to forget is that as an adult, we have this learning curve. As children, we have no hesitation, we just move forward, we're free spirited. But the more crap that we go through in life, we start to forget that every time we try something new or that we're learning, there's a bridge we have to cross. It's from not
Mm.
knowing all the way to mastery. And unfortunately, when people fail, sometimes they get so discouraged that they stop because they think that they suck, when in reality, they forget we have to cross this bridge and figure out the best route, or sometimes we might go a different direction, and that's completely okay. And all of these things that you said really work well together because when I look at it, define what you want. Yeah, absolutely. It's like your compass. But what do you do when you don't know what you want? You learn, you ask, you figure it out, you do trial and error. And that's a big part of taking action too. All of these three things, no matter what order that they're in, they're all relative to each other.
Yeah. The failure that it's a really good point because a lot of people fail and then they just don't progress any further. But if you treat it as a learning opportunity, you're much more likely to progress and finally reach success, whatever you define as success.
Speaking of, I don't know that I'd call this failure. It's more so not taking action because it wasn't perfect. So I took a voiceover class, and this was, gosh, it must have been 1999 when I did this. And I was so excited about it. There were certain things that were outside of my comfort zone, like the improvisation and doing different voices. However, I completed the class and I never went to go get any gigs. I never pitched myself. I never made a demo reel or anything because I was just so fearful about what would happen. I had no clue. There's this block of uncertainty that didn't have me move forward. And that's directly relevant to this. If I knew these three things, or if I had a mentor that was by my, or if you're there, by my side saying, no, this is how it is, you just do it. And you pitch yourself 10 times, maybe you get one, or whatever feedback there would have been, then maybe that could have been my path and I would have been at your conference.
Yeah. I mean, I go back to jobs that I did when I was first starting out, and they're terrible. I'm like, how did I get hired and make money off of this? But again, you're always going to get better. So there's always time. You want to get it over, you
Yes,
still can.
there's a lifetime, but remember, you have to take, what did you say? Imperfect action.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And that's what I did with the voiceover. I didn't have the pro studio at that time. I just made whatever I could insofar as like a sound booth. And I just started recording. And then as I got better and made more money, I would invest in more and more. So yeah,
How long have you been doing voiceover?
8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want any tips, check out the links in the description and hire Dervla as a coach, or go to her website, or we got some connections here on the Three
Oh,
Pillars
yeah.
of Success podcast. All right, last question. What advice would you like to give to anyone in our audience that's looking to achieve success?
Well, actually, I think that ties in well with what we were just talking about. I find that a lot of reaching success has to do with self-worth and not settling for less than you want. An example is it might be scary to, like, say, ask for a raise at your work, but no matter how high it is, just go for it. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? They say no, they give you less, but possibly still settle higher than they originally planned on. Or maybe they appreciate that you have such high self-worth and they give it to you. I mean, just feel the fear and do it anyway. I feel like if you just go for it, if anything, people will just respect you for more for staying in your worth. And then again, remember the three pillars: define what you want, take imperfect action, and always be learning and growing.
Yes. All right. Well, thanks so much for being my guest today. I'm sure that many people across the world are going to get so much value out of this, and I appreciate you. And for everyone that's listening, remember to tell your friends to like and subscribe and leave comments for this podcast, because that's how we reach more people. And we'll talk to you next time. This is the Three Pillars of Success podcast. I'm Geraldine, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.